Well, the 3 days of heavy rain that we were promised never came, as usual. Instead we had about 5 millimetres of rain over about 2 hours, just enough to wet and moisten the top inch or so of the soil, you know, just where all the weed seed resides. So today we're going to take a look at the weeds. Hi, welcome back. Well, I have to admit I do like a nice tidy plot, but when you're busy at this time of the year, sowing and pricking out and hardening off, things do catch up with you a little bit, and the weeds are a case in point. We've just had a few cool days, and as I say, a little bit of rain, but not really anything to speak about. But all of a sudden the weeds become apparent for everybody to see. Now they're not really bad, and they are mainly down the side of the paths. The beds that have been dug, well, they're the worst beds for weeds, as you can see. This is the potato bed, and we've got a smattering of weeds all the way up the side of the path. So, and also I should say as well, in some of the furrows as well, between the mounds of potatoes. More of the same here, so they've got to come out today. We have been a little bit unlucky with some of the manure as well, particularly the manure with lots of straw and hay in it, because that tends to be the manure that has lots of grass in. It's only on the surface and it does pull off easily. It's not couch grass. But as you can see, if we get close, there's quite a lot of grass just sat on the top there, and a few nettles as well. And as we go a little bit further down, you can see it's getting a little bit worse just there. So, although by and large the plot's nice and clean, when I do a panning shot like that you might think, oh, it's lovely and tidy and clean. When you get up close, you can see that everything's not always quite as it seems. And the other kind of weed that we've got to remove at this time of the year is the volunteer potato. We strive, don't we, every year when we harvest, to leave the beds nice and clean. We take every tiny little potato out, no matter how small, and we're quite self-satisfied sometimes at the end of it. We think we've got them all, but at this time of the year, you know, we realised that we weren't quite as effective as we thought we were. We're on the third plot now, and we're looking at a bed that's reasonably clean. That didn't have potatoes in last year, did it? If we just turn to the left, this was the bed that had the new potatoes last year. And I could have sworn blind that I'd got every single potato out of this bed. I really went through virtually all of the soil by hand as I dug the potatoes out. But if we count them, that I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and probably another 10 or 15 to come through in the next couple of weeks. So that's my job for this morning, to remove the volunteer potatoes, some of the weeds, and also in this area where the old fence used to be, the pallet fence, I need to pull out all of these raspberries, autumn raspberries. Now, we did dig all this area and we took virtually everything out, and I've removed some of the remaining raspberries that were in the ground. I've done that a couple of times already, but there's still obviously quite a bit of root in there, and that needs to come out as well. So I may need to get the spade to get that out, because the root will be about 10 inch to a foot deep, and there are a few more as well on the other beds. So there's a little bit of a lull at the moment with sowing and pricking out. I've done pretty much everything that I want to do for the time being, and I could quite easily come down here, do a little bit of watering, sit around and enjoy the bees and enjoy the nice weather, but if we do that, within 2 weeks or so we'll be absolutely covered with weeds. So the lesson of the day really is, you know, use your time productively, and if you can, remove the weeds every now and then. So that's most of the volunteer potatoes lifted, I think, and here they are on the floor, about 15 or 20 or so. I didn't manage to get all of the potato tubers up, so we may well see some more coming back, but it's quite telling really when you look at them. Some of them are really tiny. We managed to miss potatoes as tiny as that, which I guess is not that surprising, but when you miss a big one like that, then that is a little bit, you think, how the heck could I miss that? This is a nice one that I found. It's got 3 or 4 haulms of potato just shooting out the top there. Nice root system. So I think I'm just going to plant this one in this 10 or 15 litre pot here, and we'll see whether that bears fruit. So I'll just pop that there because it's quite hot now and sunny. I don't want it to dry out. The other thing I discovered when I dug the potatoes up, again reassuringly, is that the soil's beautiful underneath. The layer of manure, beautiful, really moist. Loose in parts but quite dense as well. It's quite a clay soil, but it's really nice. So I'm going to dig a spade of this out and I'm just going to pop it in the bucket. I'm not going to use compost, and we'll see how well this potato grows. As you can see, I've just potted the potato in a 15 litre pot, and the soil's lovely. It's really nice, really moist, and I've popped it up in the corner on a pile of bricks out of the way, and that's our volunteer potato for this year. I'll try to remember to water it. It's out of the way, so that'll be a bit of a challenge with my advancing years to remember, but yeah, be interesting to see. Not certain what variety it was. I suspect it's probably a Charlotte, but time will tell. Catch you later. So that's the bed nice and clean now. It took me about 40 minutes to take the potatoes and the raspberries and the other weeds out, and then I've just gone over it lightly with a hoe. The top 2 or 3 inches quite loose anyway. It's the dried manure just sitting there on top. So it's all nice and tidy now. And just before I call it a day for today, because this is another short one, I just thought I'd show you the sweet williams that sit at the bottom of these 2 beds, because they're just beginning to come into flower. And this is mainly for the benefit of my cousin Ron, who's self-isolating and has been for the last couple of months. He planted these last year at the bottom of these 2 beds with a view to transplanting them, but we've decided we're going to keep them here at the bottom. So there's a nice red one there just on its way out, and a nice pink one as well. Anyway, that's it for this update. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much for subscribing and for commenting. I really enjoy the comments, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. All the best.